Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці.
Good health to you, fellow Ukrainians. I have returned from our Sumy region. I was in Ohtyrka, Trostianets, Sumy, in the positions of our border guards. The impressions are special. The region is next to the enemy. The threat is constant. The shedding of our border is constant too. But the life of our people are obviously stronger than any fears. Recovery continues. Business is gradually returning, and people are rebuilding their lives. I had the honor to present a special title of Hero City to Ohtyrka, a city that helped save eastern and central Ukraine with its resistance. I congratulated Trostianets on the anniversary of liberation from the occupier. I held a meeting with representatives of local authorities in the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. There are issues that need to be resolved. They will be resolved. I held a meeting with the commanders directly responsible for the defense of the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. I also had a special conversation with the head of the border guard service. We talked about the defense of Sumy and our other regions, about strengthening the border guards who, together with all the defense forces, are fighting on the front line. By the way, I would like to celebrate our warriors of the Luhansk, Kramatorsk and Donetsk border guard detachments, who are effectively destroying the enemy in the Bakhmut, Liman and Avdiivka directions. Thank you, guys. I would like to express special gratitude to the mortar crews and aerial reconnaissance of our border guards units in the Donetsk sector. Well done, warriors. Of course, I thank the Sumy border guard detachment. I paid a visit to them today and had the honor to talk to them and support them. Strong positions along the entire border with the terrorist state are a consequence of the strength of our people who are ready to defend the border at any time. On March 27th, we have a decision of the French Parliament which recognized the Holodomor as genocide of the Ukrainian people. I'm grateful for this principled and fair step for spreading the historical truth to another European country. And one more thing. Now I want to thank each and everyone who, at the call of heart, in different countries, on different platforms, in different words, but equally honestly and strongly reminds the world that Russian aggression can end much faster than is sometimes said. Faster if the world is faster, if the world is more determined. The destroyed Ukrainian cities and villages along the border of the terrorist state. Russia's constant blackmail and threats to destroy lives in other countries as well. The constant refusal to return to real peace and the mockery of basic international norms are all sufficient reasons to put pressure and fight, not to seek compromise, and to care about the values of the world in a real way, achieving the result for freedom every day, achieving the result for peace every day, forcing Russia to suffer losses every day. I thank everyone who helps Ukraine. Glory to all who are now in the battle against terror. Glory to Ukraine.
Слава Україні! Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці.
Good health to you, fellow Ukrainians. A brief report on the day. I took part in a global summit for democracy at the invitation of President Biden. This is one of the most representative platforms for the protection of our system, the system of free peoples. This is the second such summit. In general, we do not have so many representative opportunities in the world to talk specifically about democracy, about the protection of freedom in all its aspects. And it is good that now we have such an opportunity to join forces in order to find more energy, more prospects for democracy. The position of Ukraine, as always, is very specific, as practical as possible, and in almost all the leaders' speeches at the summit, there were apt words of support for our country and our people. I am thankful for this to every leader, every nation who feels, as we do, that the values of freedom deserve the strongest protection. Now, thanks to Ukrainian courage, thanks to the leadership of the United States, President Biden, thanks to the Congress of the United States and everyone who works for the consolidation of the world, we have the greatest unity of democratic countries in a long time. And this unity, as we can see, is enough to fight for freedom. But to win against tyranny, greater unity is needed. I am sure that the democratic world is capable of achieving it. It is capable of winning. Democracy needs victory as soon as possible, and all of us together, Ukrainians, all Europeans, our American allies, our friends on all continents, in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, in Australia, will do everything to bring victory closer. The victory of Ukraine, the victory of freedom, the victory of the rule-based international order. I spoke with Giorgia Meloni, head of the Italian government. I thanked her for her principles, for her determination, for the real European strength that is felt in her words and actions in defense of freedom. We discussed both bilateral relations and the general situation in our defense against Russian aggression. I informed her about the situation on the battlefield, about our needs. Already in the coming months, we can be more active on the front line, and we will do everything to ensure that the support of our steps by the world is as effective as possible. Bakhmut. We have something to thank our warriors for. Warriors who are fighting in the Bakhmut direction, fighting firmly and efficiently. I thank each and everyone who is doing everything to increase the losses of the enemy there. And special thanks to the warriors of our Kost Hordiyenko 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade, 77th Separate Air Mobile Brigade, and the glorious Holodny Yar 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade. Well done, guys. We are already preparing for the events planned for the second half of this week. I held relevant meetings today. Ukraine has not wasted a single week during the full-scale war. We are constantly strengthening our state, our defense and security forces, our confidence in advancing towards victory. A step has also been taken to strengthen the spiritual independence of our state, to protect our society from the old and cynical Moscow manipulation of religion. Ukraine is a territory of the greatest religious freedom in our part of Europe. It has been so since 1991. It will always be so. I thank everyone who cares about Ukraine and our citizens. Thank you to everyone who supports the Ukrainian struggle for independence. Glory to our warriors. Glory to Ukraine.
Слава Україні! Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці.
Good health to you, fellow Ukrainians. 400 days. 400 days of our defense against full-scale aggression. This is a colossal path that we have lived through. Altogether, everyone who fought and fights for Ukraine, who took care and takes care about the state and Ukrainians, who helped and helps our logistics, who strengthened and strengthens Ukrainian resilience. Ukraine went through the most terrifying days of that February. We survived this winter as well. There is a colossal effort behind these words. They passed last spring, which turned the tide of this war in favor of our defense. Last summer and autumn we proved that the spring liberation of our northern regions was no accident. The battle for Kiev, Chernihiv and Sumy regions, the return of the territories of our Kharkiv region, the return of Kherson, the defense of Bakhmut and Donbass in general. This is the heroism of Ukrainians that the world will not forget. We are preparing our next steps, our active actions. We are preparing the approach of our victory. What is the strength of Ukraine? If your intentions are good, the whole world will be on your side and help you. Today, on the 400th day of resistance, full-scale resistance, I want to thank everyone in the world who stands with Ukraine, who shares our interpretation of freedom, who supports our pursuit of justice, who has the same strong conviction that we, Ukrainians, have the conviction that the world should be based on rules, on civilized rules, on the rules of humanity, respect and peace. That is why Ukraine will win. Because freedom and justice, humanity and respect, peace deserved by the people must prevail. I thank all our soldiers and sailors, all our sergeants and first sergeants, all our officers and generals. I thank each and everyone who holds this front, the front of protecting the best that humanity has, the front of protecting the best that you and I have, our Ukraine. United, invincible and forever free. I thank everyone who is currently fighting, each and everyone who is fighting to protect themselves and brothers in arms in neighboring positions. Thank you to everyone who cares about our brave warriors. Thank you to everyone who protects our cities and restores normal life in the areas where it was violated by Russia with its aggression and terror. I also thank everyone who helps the daughters and sons, wives and husbands, mothers and fathers of our people, soldiers and civilians, whose lives were taken away by this war, by Russia. Ukraine will win at the front. Ukraine will win in recovery. Ukraine will win in restoring justice. We will not leave a single trace of Russia on our land, and we will not leave any enemy unpunished either. We are preparing news about this. This day, like any of the 400, was an active and as possible for me. Communication with commanders, with intelligence, meetings regarding the internal situation. I made another appeal to the parliament of the partner country, to the Austrian parliament. I thank Austria for the fact that Ukraine was heard. A productive meeting with the delegation of the German defense enterprise Rheinmetall AG. I am thankful to our partners for their willingness to cooperate with us in an even more meaningful way. Tomorrow will be also active, to the maximum. We will do everything so that the day comes sooner when I can thank you, dear Ukrainians, for our victory. Glory to Ukrainian heroes. Glory to Ukraine.
Слава Україні!